I can't hold it in.
Well, we give it a crack. We thought we would sit here and not do our job like the girls were out there not doing theirs. So
just sit here in silence for a little bit.
We thought we'd sit here for silence for a little bit because where do we begin?
What was that?
You know what? I'm just going to play the intro and let the pain begin.
Remember when we first saw that intro on like the first show and we were so hopeful of what this season could be? And now we have one game left and it's what it is.
So we said at the start of the year that there'd be zero expectations on this group. And slowly but surely throughout the year, we put expectations on the group.
Maybe we should. Expectations, though, we did not mean actually just don't do anything all year.
Literally. Oh, I actually really love that intro because firstly, you can see what crowds we used to have.
Used to, past tense.
Correct. And it takes me back to a time where we're actually decent.
Yep. I think Nathan hit the nail on the head in the comments that he's glad AFLW is only 10 rounds for the sake of the club. Imagine 12 more rounds.
Oh my God, no. I could not sit here for another 3 months watching that.
We were talking about it today. We were saying we'll miss the AFLW show so much, but I don't think we're going to miss this season at all. We're running out of things to say. We're running out of ways to reword what we've said all season. That it's just a mess. I think that's the one-word summary.
One-word summary in about 10 words. I'm actually really disappointed. Like, I knew I said I wasn't going to get my hopes up this season and I wasn't going to, get too angry or too disappointed, but they seem to disappoint me in ways I didn't think were possible.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like that first quarter on the weekend, I was, oh my.
You messaged me.
Yeah.
You messaged me. Oh, funny.
To be fair, Gold Coast weren't much better in the first quarter. It was just a terrible game in the first quarter. I was not enjoying it. But then after the first quarter, it just went downhill and more downhill and more downhill. And Gold Coast seemed to get themselves together. They pulled themselves into line at quarter time and then managed to make something of the game. And us, on the other hand, we couldn't make anything of it. Nothing.
1 point between the two of them for an entire quarter of football. And then it was just like point for point. And I think I said to you, this is riveting football. Was the word I used. This is riveting.
My family friend who plays under 12 girls was watching it with me and she was like, what is going on? And I'm like, look, to be fair, you could probably make the team at this rate. Honestly, yeah, she was gobsmacked. So
it's just the fundamentals just went out the window. Like we say that it's a fundamental, and kicking is a fundamental thing. Marking is a fundamental thing. I was out at a primary school today teaching kids how to mark and to kick and to handball. It's a fundamental skill. And I'm sorry, but Jess Good struggles to mark, handballs to her teammates' feet, and she turns it over every time the ball hits her foot. And she's not the only one.
No, absolutely. We were messaging about this too during the game. Honestly, if there was a transcript of all Shan and I's messages throughout the game, I think we could probably coach a team. But yeah, I think definitely not the only one. And that's what's really, really worrying is I don't even think I've seen our skill develop over the season from week 1 to now. That's what you would hope. If you're not getting wins on the board, you would hope you see improvement. And I'm going to be brutally honest, I haven't seen any improvement at all
No,
And
we had the fluke win against St Kilda, and that's about it.
absolutely. And that was like, yeah, what is there to say?
Mm.
That sums it up perfectly because that was Shan and I. We had no expectations week one, round one. We were saying we understand we've lost a lot of key players. But when you've got no expectations, we don't literally mean lose
Don't
every
turn up.
single week
Don't turn
and
up.
have no improvement.
No, none. And it shits me because we know what they're capable of. And this right here sums it up. Yeah.
It's like heartbreaking. Like it hurts because we want nothing more than for this team to be successful and for us to pack out the stands and be celebrating on this show. And if it isn't that, if we aren't celebrating a win each week, like we've said a few times now tonight, we just want to see improvement. You know, that's what you need to see.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me. And look, yeah, and Amanda, perfect. No expectation doesn't mean forget the basics.
Spot on. Spot on.
And
I can't even think about the fact that we have a game this weekend. I honestly, this season ended like well and truly ended. We didn't even try and make, I mean, I'm not going to say we didn't try and make anything of the back end of the season because I'm hoping that they're all trying. Like, they're footballers, so they're going to be trying. But when we couldn't even, when it got to that, round 7-ish mark and we said, this is when they turned it around last year. This is when they started to get a few wins on the board where we might see the growth. And we haven't even had that this year. So what are we going into the off season with? Nothing. We might as well have not had this season because we haven't gained anything from it.
No, we haven't. And this here is something that I'm 100% in agreement with because we have a decent list. Like we may have lost a lot, but we've seen in patches the talent that we have throughout our list and our ability to win the football out of the middle. You see the progression of Abby McKay. You see the progression of Mimi Hill. You see Mua Lalawifi have a solid season. And this is what's concerning me. And this is why I think we need a change. We need a change from the top because I've watched Hawthorn, I've watched Sydney, I've watched Port Adelaide. Port Adelaide nearly won on the weekend. Essendon.
Sydney, although, they haven't got the wins on the board, they've improved a lot this season. I think that's another thing. If you go back to what we said earlier in the season when we were doing our predictions of the ladder, we said we're pretty sure that we should be about mid-range with the expansion clubs below us. And although ladder position-wise we are sort of midwise, I don't know how. I genuinely have no idea how we're not very, very low on the ladder because I think we probably, you get what you deserve and clearly we're in the middle, but I think we probably deserve to be a little bit lower on what we've shown this year.
Well, when you look at it, 2 of those games probably should have lost.
Yeah.
The 2 games that we drew.
Absolutely.
We had no business drawing those games. And then when you take those 2 away, we've only won 2 games for the season, which are Essendon by a point and then St Kilda by some miracle.
Yeah.
So our most complete game that we played this season, like from start to finish, was that St Kilda game.
Where was that? Every other week.
Literally, your guess is as good as my guess. And we guess the same. So
so someone else take a guess.
Anyone take a guess. So let's look at the game, shall we? Let's look at it a little bit closer. So final score was Gold Coast Suns 6-6-42 to Carlton 2-3-15. We lost the clearances. We were smashed in the clearances 25-14 with Bree Moody as your ruck. Don't ask me how. This is the stat that actually sums up where we're at, and it actually does my head in because we get it in there enough. Inside 50 count, 32 to Gold Coast Suns, 32 to Carlton. However, I'm pleased to say that we had 11 marks inside 50 to 2. What did we do with those 11 marks inside 50? We kicked 2 goals 3.
Oh my wow. That just makes you angry.
That
The
makes me
disappointment and
infuriated.
sadness, it just makes you, and it also kind of makes you laugh because it's so ridiculous. We should
Right.
be we just should be performing so much better, especially with those numbers.
You'd think so. And let's break it down a little bit further. Mimi Hill, 23 disposals, Lalawifi 14, Lucy McAvoy game high 24, Abby McKay 13 and 7 tackles, Kez 18 disposals, Skepper and Shara both named Keeley, ironically, with 12 disposals each. Ironically, their stats are legit exactly the same.
They're the same person.
Except for one or two, but that was really creepy. Like the first 3 stats are 12, 9, 3 on both of them. Oh, that's just creepy. But otherwise, you're looking at 8s and 9s, 7s, 8s and 9s with a couple of Paige Trudgeon 3, Poppy Shapp 4 and a goal, Imogen Milford 3.
3 disposals in a game of football. In a game
You're
of
a forward.
elite football.
Forward. She's a forward. Imogen Milford is a forward. Poppy Shapp is a forward. Paige Trudgeon is a defender. Where are our other forwards? DV had 7 playing from defense, did a couple of nice things. But it's the same players every week that are getting their hands on the footy. Like every week we're talking the best players are on the ground. Mim, Kez, McKay, Lalawifi. This week, chuck in the mix, Lucy McAvoy. But it's the same 3 or 4 players every week. And
you can't win a game of football with 3.
You can't. And how many years did we have 3 or 4 of our best men's players trying to carry this team? We know it didn't work. This year, it was more of an even spread. And look what happened. More players should not be relying on the same 3 or 4. Go, oh, they'll do it. Oh, no, they'll do it. They'll get the ball. They'll win the ball for us. No. You want that football, you go get that football. You want to hit that target, you concentrate on your kicking and you hit that target. It's not rocket science. Football is not a hard game.
If we were only relying on 2 players, we'd be playing tennis. We're playing
lawn bowls.
Yeah. We're playing a team sport that requires team input. And all of them to put in to a certain degree. Obviously, you're going to have players that are better than others and that impact the game more and that have more stats and all of that sort of stuff. But you can't be having players that are having 1, 2, 3 disposals, 0 tackles.
Yep. And funny enough, I was at the Williamstown VFLW trial, and one of the key things that they were looking for is elite tackling pressure. Carlton don't even have elite tackling pressure, but they want that at VFL level. That just shows how much Williamstown are prepared to work and to find the right players to be able to do that elite tackling. I reckon Carlton need to get down there. The person that we had during our year, and he does some tackling coaching with the Western Bulldogs. I think we need to get his services down there. His name is Shenny. He was fantastic. He taught our girls how to tackle, and I guarantee you the second half of our season after we saw him, our tackling was fantastic. Girls that have never played the game before, their tackling was fantastic. We need tackling practice, and we need goal kicking practice. And I'm going to bring up Amanda's comment again because no, I am not happy even though we won the inside 50 count.
I trust Coach Shan, and if Coach Shan gets this tackling coach, we need the tackling coach, Carlton. I hope you're listening.
Don't think they're listening.
I know, I don't think so either, but we'll pretend they are. Get the coaching tackle tackle coach down to Carlton.
Done. I'll see if I can get his number and pass it on to Daniel Harp and go, hey, you need to learn how to tackle. Here's this bloke's number. Give him a call. But I need something of substance this week from them to make me happy, because it stems from the top, and something's not right up here. It's going to filter down through to here.
Spot on.
And our off-field is just as important as our on-field. And Paolo has said it perfectly, that we need to look at up top, and we need to restructure our program from the ground up.
100%. Like, how? I do not understand how you can publish a plan that says you want to win premierships, plural, premierships in our women's department when we've put out what we have this year. I'm not seeing finals anytime soon, let alone premierships. So if you are seriously true about this plan that you've published, do something about it, because that plan is not going to happen with what we've got at the moment.
You're correct. And sadly, they're all blinded by the fact that they've got an amazing system around them. And I know that players that have gone have said that the system and the culture in there is not great. So there's an alarm bell right there.
Red flags.
Fix what you've got. And it needs to start from the top. Like, do a review. Men's have done their review. No excuses not to do a review of the women's program now. We've got one more game left for this season. Then, once you've finished your exit interviews and whatever else you need to do, sit down and have a good hard look at this program.
Oh, absolutely. One club, two teams. So it's all well and good that our men's are starting to look like they're on the rise. Hallelujah. But our women, like, that program is a big part of this football club. And if you're turning a blind eye to that because you've got all your focus on what's happening in the men's program and what training skills they're doing in the off season, then that is not good enough, because we are one club. And right now we're in the AFLW season, and what is happening and what's being displayed is not good enough. So fix it.
No. And
fix it now.
We're not the only ones that see this. Like, all Carlton members that, even though they don't even have to watch the game, they just look at the score and they can just assume what's happened.
Yep.
And it's the same every week. We start off in the first quarter, the first 20 minutes, really solid. Every game we have started off the first quarter really solid. We've put pressure on the ball carrier. We've tackled hard, and we've done all the right things, but we only do it for the first quarter.
And then we go missing.
What happens at quarter time? That is it. I was talking about it with someone in the office today, and he was talking about women's football, and he hates how it's coached, because he says that what did he say? He said that he asked the question, do they go into a defensive mindset and they just play defense football? And I go, well, that's what Carlton does. We start off all out attack. And then it's like, we've hit, like the Richmond game, for example, 4 goals in front. We play defense, defense, defense for the rest of the game. You don't see Melbourne going defensive. They play 4 quarters of football from start to finish, all out attack. Brisbane, all out attack. Adelaide, all out attack. They're the 3 clubs that are sitting nice and pretty up the top there, and are going to be the contenders for the grand final and the premiership, because they have a game plan. They've got good players in their system. They've got a good system in place, and they all out attack. You're not going to win games of football playing defensive. This is not, I don't even have a word for what this is or what it's not.
the whole football is kicking goals. That's what AFL is. The two big sticks. You can't win if you're not attacking the football. Obviously, there's elements of the game that are defensive, but honestly, what we're doing at the moment, it actually hurts my brain cells. If anyone knows that meme of all the maths equations floating, that's me. I just don't even know what to say because everything in my head's just floating, thinking about everything that's going wrong in this program.
No, and I'm just reading everyone's comments, and it's it's not the novelty anymore. We have a women's team. We are one club, two teams. Like you said before, we need to focus on both programs, and we want to be a destination club for both programs. Right?
Absolutely.
We want to be a powerhouse football organisation on the whole, not just a men's team and a women's team. We need to be an all-encompassing powerhouse with two football teams that deliver quality football for its members. And at the moment, we're only doing half that job.
Yeah. And I think it's also telling, I know a lot of the men's team are on, preseason holidays at the moment and they're all in Europe or Bali or wherever they are. But I think it's also a very telling sign that I don't think we see as many of the men's team at games as every other opposition club does. I think that's just an observation I've made this year, and I don't know where that comes from. Obviously, you can't put the boys in a room and say you've all got to go to the women's games, and we don't want that, but we want them to want to go. And that's the vibe I'm getting from a lot of other clubs. I saw Lynch leaving the Richmond game. I see Jack Ginnivan when he's not in Europe posting that he's at all the Collingwood games. Like Brodie Grundy went to a lot of the women's games when he was still at Collingwood. I just don't know if there's a disconnect. I don't know if it's because we're performing so poorly. I don't know if it's because of the culture of the women's program. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like the women's program is not at the level that the men's are currently at, when it was the other way around. The women's were above the men's, and now there's
You're right. And that also needs to come from the men's program. Like, they need to want to, how am I going to say this? There needs to be a want from them to support the women, and not just a once-off photo with them all intertwined together. That's an easy thing to do for media. We want the men's to want to be there, but I don't think we're giving them the option or the outlet to be there.
No way.
Even across the summer, when we were playing the summer while they were in preseason and they're all here, they weren't coming. So there's a disconnect between the two programs. We need a bit of this, but we're getting a lot of this.
Yeah. And we've got the same board and executive for both teams, but it seems like a lot of the focus is on the men's.
And that's
I don't know.
I'm not falling apart.
We're not in the meetings. We're not in the board meetings. So who knows? Maybe they are spending a lot of time, and maybe they do have a plan for the off season of how they're going to miraculously fix what's going on. But from an outsider looking in, the way the club are talking and the plans and everything, it seems like the women's club have been a little bit shut to, because they're not doing well at the moment.
No, they're not. And it's a bit of a problem because we've got a banner tomorrow night, and it's currently being made at the moment around the corner from my house. I don't know how many are there. And I don't know how many are going to be there on Friday night to hold the thing up for Carlton Respects Round, which is a problem.
A big one.
How many of squad members are going to turn up to help put up this banner for them for the last
Which
game?
is something, our cheer squad is amazing. Our cheer squad go all the time. They love the club, but it gets really, really hard. Not just the cheer squad, supporters. It gets really hard to keep turning up week in, week out. week in, week out, and be dished up the exact same thing every week.
It hurts because I'm just we want what's best for them. We say this every single week. We want to turn up for them. But they're not giving us a reason to want to stay. And you can see the emotion after the games when they look so defeated. Why do you look so defeated? Like, is it because the game plan that your coach is dishing up, that you're trying to execute, just isn't working and he's not doing anything about it?
Which is what it feels like.
It's what it looks like.
Having, we know that the girls try their heart out, but
they're gassed by the end of the game. Like, you saw Abby McKay crying the other week. It means so much to them. But what is going on above them? Like, what instructions are they being given? Like, they're trying to execute a game plan that's clearly not working. I just got an update from Dad. There's 3 at Banner.
3?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a big banner too. So.
That's a big banner too. We love Dad.
Hi, Dad. Thanks for watching.
Hi, Shan's dad.
But yeah, look,
it's
a shame because we know the girls want to win. Like, it's obvious that they want to win. It's just difficult to watch them fail because this season's nothing more than a fail for mine.
A
big fat F. Like,
how there was a lot of debate in the men's team whether it was a fail or not. I can understand that. I cannot understand a debate on this year. It was a fail, big fat F. But I think this is probably a terrible analogy, but I literally feel like a helium balloon that was beautiful, high, looked great in round 1, and it's like going flat, when the helium runs out and each week it just dishevels a little bit more. And then by the end it's on the floor. That's what I feel like right now. I'm like,
we're on the floor right now then.
So excited for this season. And we've said this week in, week out that we had no expectations because I don't want, we weren't expecting a premiership this year. We weren't expecting anything like that. We were just expecting a little bit of growth, put some smiles on our faces here and there. And it just hasn't turned out that way. At least the show's given us smiles.
This is true. This is true. And all of you have given us smiles with your fantastic comments. And it's just a shame because, yeah, the expectation was quite low to begin with. But I would have been happy with at least 50-50, 5 wins, 5 losses.
Yeah. And I would have been happy with 4 wins, 6 losses.
Instead, we've got 2 wins, 2 draws, and the rest are all losses. That's right, yeah?
You don't laugh, you'll cry.
It is right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
God. Well, let's move into what is going to be I'm going to say probably a bloodbath.
Yeah, I'm scared.
I'm actually terrified for this match because the Western Bulldogs are chugging along quite nicely this season. They had a 32-point win against the West Coast Eagles over in Perth on Saturday evening. I believe it was Saturday evening. And they're currently sitting nice and pretty in 8th spot. So they're going to want to win this game to secure their spot in the finals.
They're fighting for the win, and we're just looking forward to pre-season holiday and
literally. So if the Bulldogs by some miracle lose to us on Friday night, and Gold Coast beat the Giants, Gold Coast will jump into the finals. So Bulldogs managed to do it to themselves again in this season, and they're waiting and relying on the last game of the year to see if they make finals. They got 109.8% to 90.2 So it'll take Carlton to win by a fair amount and for Gold Coast to smash the Giants for anything major to happen. But should the Bulldogs get the job done Friday night, which we're all predicting they will secure a final spot. So, yes, it'll be very, very interesting to see how it goes and how it plays out. Let's take a closer look at what our lovely website has got to say. It just says we take on the Bulldogs Friday night at 6:10 at Icon Park. It'll be our Carlton Respects game, which is in its 6th consecutive year, which is quite nice. It's our first Respects game since the redevelopment with a fully functioning new match day facility, which we all know. Girls will be wearing their orange socks.
I love we've now turned to talking about the ground in our little preview snippets because that's all the club can get us excited for is how pretty it looks.
Yeah, literally. And twin sisters Brianne and Celine Moody will go head-to-head. 3rd time the pair faced off in their AFLW careers. I'm actually looking forward to this ruck battle because I haven't really seen much of Celine Moody, but I'm keen to see what her ruck ability is like.
Oh, yeah, me too. And we know how important Moody is to our team, so it'll be really interesting to see them go head-to-head and wonder if they get under each other's skin or just, siblings always adds a little bit of theatre to the game, I suppose. So that'll be exciting.
It is. And a couple of people have made this comment now. And I think that's pretty funny.
True.
Ellie Blackburn does love a bit of a running bounce. So she's going to be one to watch. Speaking of, Ellie Blackburn has only solidified her reputation as one of the best players in the competition. Supported by the courageous Kirsty Lamb, who I played juniors against and know quite well. And they've also got young guns Riley Wilcox and Sarah Hartwig up forward, which has been proven dangerous. Unfortunately for the Bulldogs, Kirsten McLeod will be out for the rest of the season after suffering a broken fibula and syndesmosis to her left ankle in round 9. Yeah, we haven't played the Bulldogs since round 2 of season 5.
Wow.
Yep. And funny enough, that game had one straight kick separating the two sides with the Dogs winning. I think that was Pride round 2020. I'm pretty sure that one was. That was just before COVID lockdown and I was still pregnant. There you go. It was real fun.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. No, wait. Yeah. That sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because season 6 was the start of, season 4 was 2020. Season 5 was the start
now
of
I really am
21.
that meme of the maths.
No. Season 5 was the start of 21 because this is season 7. So we had 2 seasons this year. That's right.
Right.
Too confusing with 2 seasons in 1 year.
Very confusing.
But, yeah, so 6:10 start at Icon Park. I would implore you to go to support the girls for the last game of the season. I'm going to try my best to get myself there.
Yes, so am I.
Yep. Just for the sake of rounding off the season and hopefully giving them the support one last time for this year because we won't see them now for a good, quite a while actually. We won't see them again until about June next year. So it'd be good to get around the girls one last time, albeit painful.
They can break our heart one last time.
Look, all I ask, I'm not going to ask for a lot here, just hit a target by foot or by hand, please. Just execute the fundamental skills. I don't care if you get smashed. Just execute the fundamentals, go out on a high note, show the supporters that you actually care, right? Show the ones that are going to turn up that we're turning up for a reason. We're there for them. We're there for them to put on a show for us. So just please, I implore you, just give it a red hot crack.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Absolutely. That's all we're asking.
And this is why I reckon no one's going to go.
Lovely.
To be fair, everyone, it's going to rain until next Tuesday, so there's plenty of room in the Legends stand where it's dry.
Yes.
Which is where I'm most likely going to be sitting if I go. So
me too.
Yes, Lewis, I am praying to God because there is nothing else I can do at this point.
Lewis made me laugh. The ground has had more growth and progress than the AFLW team. That's golden.
Facts. But no, thank you, Ben. 100%. As hard as it is, do watch the team. I know a couple of occasions they said, we're sorry. We're trying. We know. We understand. Well, now's the time to show us that you care, that you know, that you understand. Because it just hurts watching them. Like, I sit there and I'm like, am I watching the men's again from like
2018?
Yeah. 2002 through 2008. Sorry for those that are a little bit younger in our audience. I was well and truly well aware of 2002 to 2008. Then we had a nice little patch.
In 2000. I wasn't born in 2002.
Wow. Now I feel a little bit older. Thanks.
That's all right.
And then we had a nice little patch 08 through 11. Then we were down again. And then 2013 happened. And then from 2014 to 2021, it's just been.
Let's just hope that the women's team doesn't take as long of a downhill slope and we fix it. Off season, fix whatever the problem is, and let's go into next season. I'm acting like we don't even have a game on the weekend, but go into 2023 firing.
We need to, and it starts with how we finish off this year. Finish off this year on a good note. Take that momentum into the off season. Go rest. Go get yourselves right. Go get yourselves fit.
Yeah.
Come back pre-season ready to freaking go.
Go. Yep.
Hit the ground running. Hit them hard round one. Hopefully we have a new person and in the head coach chair, because we desperately need an injection of a new game plan, a new game style, a new system. We're going to have players that come and go. That's just AFL in general in terms of player turnover. We're going to draft new girls. We're gonna lose some to other clubs. We're gonna gain some from other clubs. So it's just a matter now of just focusing on the controllables, which
what we have.
Exactly right. And then when the time comes and players move on or new players come in, if we get a new coach, then we get a new coach and we start from scratch. Because as I've said many, many times, we've been in this competition for 7 seasons now. The teams we started with are still sitting at the top of the ladder.
Yeah.
We've gone that way, whereas they've gone that way. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
I think that's all there really is to say. Yep.
Yeah, well,
Coach Stan.
I'll happily sit there and coach from this side of the fence.
Me too.
Because I do not need that pressure on me. Thank you.
It is a hard job. I could not do it.
No,
absolutely.
And kudos to Daniel Harford for accepting the challenge of being an AFLW coach, because it wouldn't be easy. No chance. And we're not saying that his job would be easy to do. No way. Dealing with 40 plus women and some are still girls. and trying to execute whatever he calls a game plan. But it's hard, and this industry is a difficult industry, and there's girls that are absolutely chomping at the bit to play at this level.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
the girls are going to be playing for their careers tomorrow night, because I feel that if we do get a new coach, they're going to be brutal.
Players playing for their careers, coaches coaching for their careers. It's all going to happen on Friday night because we've waited the whole season for them to show something. Let's go into the preseason with a little bit of anything.
A little bit of anything. I like that. Hashtag a little bit of everything.
Signing off with a little bit of anything.
I guarantee you we're going to get a little bit of everything on Friday night. We're going to have a period where we look at each other and go, where's this been? And quickly turn to, there it is.
Back to reality.
With a dash of, what the was that? So I feel that's going to be our roller coaster Friday night. Regardless if we're there or not, there'll be messages that'll be crossed over and it'll be like, this is amazing, to what? So yeah. I can't deal with the heartache anymore, and I just want them to do well. I'm going to throw a curveball in there and say we'll win by 5 points.
I'm going to end the way I started. Positivity. I'm going to say we're going to win by 13.
Oh, she's gone the 2 goals. All right, team.
We're having picked 2 goals the whole game. We'll see.
God. Hit us with your predictions, good, bad, or otherwise, because we want to see what everyone thinks for round 10. I nearly said round 23 then. Feels a bit like that, doesn't it? It feels like this is the longest season ever, but it's actually been quite short. So, yeah, give us your predictions on what you think is going to happen. 6-10 respects round. Wear your orange. We'd love to see a sea of Carlton respects on Friday night. Get your orange flags, get your orange socks on, get your Carlton respects tops on. Get down there, give the girls one last hurrah because we really need it. Bulldogs by 36, Carlton by 1. Blues kick a goal or a point to win after the siren. Ooh. Okay. Footscray by 15 points. You're making me sad. Carlton by 4 points. Contact you after the game if a miracle or disaster. God, please do. Dogs by 4 goals. Now, points or goals, Amanda? Just some clarification, please. Because I feel like 7 can mean anything. Goals,
especially with this team,
sounds more like it. Points, not so much. But no, look, please just try and get down there. I know we talk and say all this negative stuff about what's happening, but in reality, we're a club that's struggling and a club that needs a refresh. So if we can stick around and give them that bit of love, I feel they'll greatly appreciate it. And we're only seeing it for what it is. You guys are only commenting what you see, and we're all seeing the same thing, and we're all of an agreement here that something needs to change. And we just need to keep backing them, because we didn't shy away from the boys when they were going through a rough patch, so we shouldn't shy away from them for the female program either, because
spot on.
We're one club at the end of the day.
Mic drop. Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you meant points. Because if you meant goals, we're going to have a conversation. But no, we do appreciate everybody jumping on from round 1 through to round 10. It's been a whirlwind 10 weeks. We've seen some highs. We've seen too many lows.
But we
at
had
least
each
we've all
other.
done it together. Yeah, we've had each other. And once again, huge thank you to Terry and the Blue Abroad family for embracing this show for its second season. I hope we've done enough to have season 3 next year. But no, we appreciate the love and the support and the messages that we get and the famous moments we have when people spot us and know us from Blue Abroad at the men's games or even some of the women's games. We do appreciate it. We do have a little bit of a running joke going with Terry at the moment in regards to being famous. But yeah, it's getting tougher to watch the girls, but we'll stick fat like we did with the boys and we'll push on. Kira, thank you for the last 10 weeks. It's been an absolute pleasure having you as my co-host this season.
No, thank you, Shan. Coach Shan. Coached the channel, coached the show, coached the team. I think Coach Shan is definitely your new name. I've loved jumping on with you this season, and I don't think I would have been able to last the season and stayed sane without the show. So I'm very thankful for the show and for everyone that's jumped on, listened, watched, commented, liked. Awesome. It's really awesome community we've built here. So no, very grateful for the show, and hopefully we can top it all off with a win on the weekend.
That's it. And in the words of Lewis, go Blues. See you all next season.